This is Chiswick Land. The town of Chiswick wanted a pier-like park, but it's on the shore of an old quarry and not even near the sea. And here is where my love for jank starts. This plan is doomed to look bad, but it doesn't mean I can't make a nice park out of it. For me, jank is nostalgia. There's multiple parks that I have visited that have jank. It's putting together an ill-fitting puzzle, putting some glitter on it and call it pretty. Second or third hand rides, getting a lick of paint, with the hope that they last a few years and milked for every last euro. These parks are only fun when it's great weather, but as soon as the weather turns, the rain reveals what a dreary place it actually is. So Chiswick Land is full of these janky old traveling rides. Rides that have a permanent resting spot until they die a rusty death, only to be replaced by a slightly less rusty equivalent. The park hardly has any permanent brick and mortar buildings, the exception being the entrance, which is loosely based on a building in Blackpool Pleasure Beach, and a souvenir shop that is stuck in the 80s forever. The rest of the buildings are either converted work sheds or midway games and traveling shops, given a permanent place. I have to say I did build all of this before we got arcades in the game. Tsunami is based on a traveling log flume made by Fabric Group. Mostly the supports are based on their design. Their setup has more scenery than this, but yeah, that's jank for you. I also love the idea of having the water filtering and pump in the middle of the park, hardly hidden by some fencing. The ride itself is basically 2 drops and a lot of bobbing around. There are a lot of standard flat rides in the park, just put down with a fence around it. But I do want to emphasize buggy and the little train. These are fun memories for me, as these are rides that my kids would ride when the carnival was in town. I loved making such a small train. Rides in Planet Coaster 2 tend to be bulky, but I got this tiny footprint done. Pair that with some cheap props and fake grass and you have a ride that kids will love for like 5 minutes. Buggy is a bigger equivalent of this. Now this ride doesn't exist in the game, but I'm using the powered rotating rides with a buggy on every other car. It's not a rideable, but it's an homage to some fun family memories. So a pier park needs a boardwalk, and I really wanted this to look like an imitation of a boardwalk. I feel like I got there with asphalt on the ground and a shop in disrepair sitting there on the pier. The arcade even has a gambling hall with slot machines. Last but not least are the coasters. King Arthur is a recreation of Pirates Hideaway on Casino Pier, New Jersey. I saw this coaster in a video about the worst roller coasters. This ride itself is rough, but there is an indoor section with no theming at all. The epitome of jank. Just a metal shed with supports and hardly light. I did put in a decent inverting coaster, but it had to be on the cheap side. So I landed on a Gerstlauer Eurofighter 320, their smallest model, so it would fit in the park and wasn't too heavy on the budget. The Wild Mouse roller coaster was one of the first things I built. I stared at quite a few pictures of traveling ones, and this is what I came up with. It's not an exact replica, but an ode to janky old Wild Mouse traveling coasters. Last but not least is the Woody. I imagine this being the first thing the park built, trying to create an iconic view. Now it overlooks a mountain of cheap rides and old popcorn. But to emphasize the coaster being older, I went with a green-white old color combo and having a fully wooden station. And that's Chiswick, a small janky park but built with love. Love for all the old rides I have been on that creak and moan when they start and are slightly scary to ride. Not knowing if it will break or give you tetanus. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, maybe leave a like or even a subscribe. And I hope to see you in the next one.